Hey, howdy. When a government changes from right wing to left wing, the people change from heaven to hell. Pretty much covers it. Hey, socialists, liberals, they are misguided fools. The country has lots of soup, as an example, but a liberal sees a rose and a cabbage and says that, hey, the rose is nicer, so he makes soup with the rose instead of the cabbage. That kind of says that it's all about perception, right? I mean, these guys, they don't know if they've found a rope or lost a horse. Air Canada, in Canada, they have a motto. The motto is, we are happy when you are not. That pretty much does say it. I mean, these people, they've always been out of control. Their history is they were a private company and then they were nationalized. And then they went broke because the company continued to suck money out of the Canadian government, and then they went public, okay? And the people got to buy back what they already owned. Nice history, hey, and then the shares crashed and the government put more money into the government. Now all the pension funds and everything they control, they in fact are the majority shareholders of Air Canada, so effectively it's owned by the government anyway, and certainly it's semi-controlled by them, and Air Canada acts like the government. Have you got all that? When I say act like them, it's because they do bad things. Recently they went to the government and said, hey, we're in trouble because of COVID. Effectively it's another nationalization kind of deal. They got almost $6 billion with a B, dollars from the government, and then while those negotiations were going on, they were negotiating with their people. They got the money, and then they went out and they gave $10 million bonuses to the people. That's kind of like years ago, the standing joke always was, and it wasn't a joke, it was true. Every time Air Canada lost another $1 million, the CEO got another $1 million raise. And that's what's going on here. In addition to the $10 million, they got a whole bunch of stock options, so it could be $20, $30 million. Maybe, certainly 10 for certain that we know of. And they reduced their staff by over 20,000 during the pandemic. Irresponsible? These people that run the company, and maybe the people who gave them the money too, should be so far in bloody jail, you gotta feed them with a slingshot. Okay, you got a killer. He's a killer and a rapist, a serial rapist. Paul Bernardo's his name. He has been in prison in Canada for, I don't know, probably 30 years or close to it. Now he's applying for parole. He is a poster boy for capital punishment. The family is still going through all of this pain in Canada. I remember in Canada as a boy, teenager actually, when the last hanging took place at Fort Saskatchewan. I think it was a guy by the name of Cook, I think. And it was kind of an interesting time, but that's another story. With regards to Bernardo, he's been in a solitary confinement mostly for 30 years. That's cruelty to animals as well, because he is an animal. He admitted to raping more than 14 people. He murdered a couple of people. Capital punishment, goodbye bad guy. At least give the jury the right to select capital punishment as a punishment if they choose. I mean, that's what this is about. It's not about hanging people from every fence or every light post. It's about getting your rights back from the government because they took them away. The government decides what happens to people. The jury should decide. In Canada, if the jury makes a decision the judge doesn't like, he overturns what the jury says. So why are you there anyway? Typical liberalism stuff, right? And this guy, hang him. I've mellowed a lot in my old age because I used to say, you know, bad guys like him, you torture them and you kill them. I'm a softie now. Just kill them. Just saying. Instagram. There are police informants effectively for dumb people. This is from the file of stupid. There's a guy in Detroit. Federal agents now have arrested him. His name is Del Marco Craig, and he did a live Instagram video, and despite being a convicted felon, he waved around a gun. Not too bright, and so his home was raided by agents, and they found 6 guns, 2 of which were stolen, and ballistics linked those firearms to 7 shootings, including a homicide and a double shooting that took place a couple of hours after he posted the Instagram. So you know what? They continue to walk among us. Maybe that's okay because you can catch them faster because they're dumb as a stick. Edmonton, Canada, you got Edmonton Eskimos football club has been around, I think, for 100 years, and some little Inuit person took offense, I guess, probably only 1 or 2, and said, hey, come on, you can't use the term Eskimo, but nobody else does anymore either. I don't think there is such a thing as an Eskimo. They call themselves something else, but the club said we're going to change the name, and they did. Pretty weak, but they did. They're now officially called the Edmonton Elks, E-L-K-S, Elks. Well, hold it now. I take offense to that. I'd be what if somebody goes out and shoots a poor little elk? How dare you? I don't. Animal rights people, they're coming at you next. Where does it stop, right? You got to man up, guys. Edmonton Eskimos, 100 years, and you change the name. I could use that word stupid a whole bunch, but is that it? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's got to go beyond stupid. And in keeping with Alberta, you got the premier there who says, hey, we're now going to have a referendum. This is where you have a meeting to decide where the next meeting is. Everyone's going to get together and vote about equalization because we give billions of dollars to Quebec and other people, and we want to see what you think about it. We kind of know what they think about it. You don't need to have a referendum. The province has no money. The other people rip you off of the other provinces. Duh, you've been elected, Kenny. Stop sending the money. You want to now have all the people's input? Doesn't matter. There is no money. So you're going to send money you don't have, and now you're asking people about that. And then you say we want to have more referendums. We want to talk about creating an Alberta Constitution, adding property rights to the Alberta Constitution. Duh. Replace the RCMP with an Alberta police force. Duh. Introduce an Alberta pension plan. Duh. Those are things you're supposed to do as a manager. And you know, the Wild Rose Party, Paul Hinman and his gang, and I say that fondly, gang meaning people who will get things done. This is their platform. And this guy's coming along saying, oh, you guys are getting high in the polls, and I got to use some of your stuff. Paul and gang, don't worry about this guy because he is so busy having meetings to decide when meetings are, he'll never figure it out. He's a federalist, and when he does get the results from the Alberta people, he'll go to Trudeau and sit down and say, can we talk about this? Okay, lastly, I got this, the AR-15. So many Liberals, they're mad at the AR. And they say that AR stands for assault rifle. Well, firstly, there is no definition of assault rifle. It doesn't exist. Secondly, AR came from Armal Light AR-15. It was a company. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. ARMA Light. One word. Armal Light. And eventually they sold out to Colt. Colt makes these AR-15s, and it does not stand for assault rifle. Just saying, and then you got some idiot in San Jose. I said that was the last thing, but I'm getting wound up and worked up. Stay with me. In San Jose, California, he said, I want more gun control. Because bad guys are doing bad things, I want to go after you good guys. Hey, we got to have all gun owners in the city have to have liability insurance. The insurance would cover accidental discharge of the gun as well as intentional acts of third parties who steal, bore, or acquire guns. What does that mean? You can't. The good news is I don't know what he means. That's good, because if I understood a whack like him, then I'd really be in trouble, wouldn't I? And he also wants gun shops in California, or in his city rather, to video record all firearm purchases. This guy, he's watched too much porn. He's beyond help. None of the gun control measures would ever stop, you know, bad guys from doing anything. And he wants a sales tax, of course, on firearm and ammunition sales to fund gun safety classes. Safety classes for whom? The bad guys, they're the ones that are getting shot all of the time. Sacramento's the same kind of deal, right? And you got the governor there saying, let's have more taxes on guns and everything else. And the CRPA, the California Rifle and Pistol Association, they fight. All the time, they fight, they push, and they win. They are winning cases in court. They need help to do that, so stand up for what's right. Send them money. In Canada, it's the CSSA, Canadian Shooting Sports Association. Support these gun clubs because they look after your freedom and your rights. Take away your guns, you've lost your freedom, you got the government. Hey, they're all bad. You all got to pay attention to this stuff, so stand up for what's right. That's a good term, right, right, right. Hey, ain't that right? Y'all come back. See ya.